Let's be honest, guys. It's a Super Sunday. We all wanted to see. He huffed and puffed, but he got there. And surely, right now, Virat Kohli fans will be over the moon. I'm over the moon. I know people will, of course, critique that to a certain extent. And look, everyone's entitled to their opinion. As usual on cricket.com, I do the mid-innings review. My name's Abdi Shaikhi. And as you can see, Nikhil Popat and Gukirat. Boys, first and foremost, I mean, we have to kind of give credit where credit's due. Gukirat, how did you rate that Virat Kohli knock? And he just said it right now. Tricky wicket. Given the circumstances and scenario, 101, it was a good one, right?
It's an innings you would take it because this was the pitch where any other side could have probably gotten out for below 250, 230, 240, 250 if they had tried to over attack. So I thought both Shreyas and Virat had a good partnership in the sense they understood that they'll have to respect Maharaj and they'll have to respect the conditions. Shot making was not easy. And yeah, it's another thing. You also, I would want to say that you cannot judge how good a pitch is for batting on the basis of how Rohit has batted, because Rohit has this quality and tendency to make each and every pitch look like that it's an absolute road. Even I was guilty of that, because initially I felt, oh, this is a 350 plus kind of a track, but it wasn't. So you take this knock, and the only thing that you can sort of question Virat is that because he was 47 of 60 at one point of time, and then there was a slowdown. He was 78 of 102. Then he tried, but I just think this innings was very similar to Daryl Mitchell's versus India. It's not that there wasn't an effort to try and hit. It's just that it got harder and harder to find the boundary. And against Shamsi again, he was trying, but he couldn't connect. And that's something we've discussed even before, that sometimes his lack of shots versus spin will come and sort of come and bite him back. But still, not his fluent best, but it's still an innings. Or if you want to rate it, you would probably rate it somewhere between 7 to 8 out of 10, 7.5 or 8 maybe.
Okay, Nikhil, how do you rate that knock? Because a lot of people are having their opinions and keep those comments coming through. But Nikhil, what's your assessment of not just the Virat 100, but India as well? Do you think it's above par?
Well, Virat felt so. The guy who batted there for almost, I don't know what, 40 overs, 40 more than 40 overs, felt that it was a deck like that. So I'll take his word, and then also take the fact that sometimes just one innings may not be enough for you to just respect or judge an innings how it should be entirely, because you didn't see anybody looking fluent. You look at those scores: 101 of 121, Iyer 77 of 87. Rohit 40 of 20 got a great start. There was some buffet bowling there as well, but he still made them bowl them. So that's credit to him. And it was his start that allowed Shreyas and Kohli to have that stand where they could afford to take their time. So I think that has to be taken into the context. And at the innings break as well, Virat mentioned how the ball started to do a lot more once it got older. So it wasn't easy. It did look visibly easy as well. So while we may all have things that we want to look forward to, I don't think it was as easy as, as Padi said, just look to attack. You saw KL Rahul also struggle. So the moment India lost Shreyas, you knew that Kohli had to bat deep. Yes, we will all say that yes, he could have found a fence maybe on a few more occasions. And it did not happen. It did not happen because he struggled to get Shamsi away, and which is something that we should all have no problem accepting. But I don't think it was just looking to only what do you call it, play to the milestone. I think it was just looking to bat deep, and then you take what comes your way. Surya chipped in with a very good cameo. So did Jadeja. I think Jadeja's cameo could eventually still be a very good cushion for the team to have. And we still have the second innings to see how the entire batting pans out for South Africa.
Okay, of course. Let's pan into some comments right now. Set 320 in the preview, new relax Vasan. Yeah, we all kind of were close in terms of our predictions. Shaunak Malik saying Virat bat for 205 minutes. Sanjay going to say amazing how growth is to Virat and runs in this World Cup, and we feel Kohli is having ODI World Cup of his life and Rohit's not throwing away his starts. Honestly, I think I agree with Gurkirat's post on X, which he made. The fact that it's almost the perils of batting like this, which is a valid point. I really want to, of course, ask you boys about a lot of things going ahead. But before that, all you lovely people watching, like this particular stream and share it with all the people, because we won't hold our opinions back. I know there's certain things being said in social media, and if you guys want to draw attention to that, you can, of course, have your say here on cricket.com. Guys, just want to ask you about that Rohit knock. Let's start there, because he just is so good to watch. Even when he got out, Gurkirat, it's like he's almost taking the piss out of Rabada, like coming down the track, and it was a brilliant catch. Babuma made it look superb, but easy, I should say. But where do you rate that Rohit knock? And how do you love this approach that the Indian captain's showing?
So like Nikhil said, that it allowed Virat and Shreyas to take their time. Also, what it made Bavuma do is bowl Maharaj a lot more early, and Maharaj's quota of overs were finished by the 30th over mark. So I still thought that he middled the ball well, couldn't get elevation. What he's intent on doing is punishing bad balls, and I think the idea for him was, okay, Rabada's into the attack. I really don't want him to settle into a line. Both Ngidi and Jansen did not bowl well. This was the first game where Jansen did not take a wicket in the power play, and he really struggled today. So probably the idea was to attack Rabada straight away, so that Rabada also feels the pressure. It did not come off, and there will be days. It's something that he tried to do with Henry. He was lucky that day. A fall shots were plays and misses. Today, he did. It was not a fall shot, but probably did not have the rub of the green. So you'll have to take both. You cannot really say that, okay, the other it's something that we were discussing in our internal group. Nikhil felt that because India were already at 60 runs under 5 overs, maybe he could have been a little more selective, which is fair. But given how the pitch became and everything, I am more than happy to give him the benefit of the doubt that, okay, what he wanted to do, and probably wanted to maximize whatever he could with the new ball. So I am ready to give him the benefit of the doubt and the leeway. I also understand if someone feels, okay, maybe could he have delayed the assault on Rabada. Assault's not the right word. The attack on Rabada by a over, because probably see him through. Fair, but it's very difficult to nitpick. When you want someone to continue with this approach, because there's the adrenaline rush. There's so many things that keep going on in your mind that very difficult to nitpick. Okay, should this have been done or should it have been avoided that way?
Okay. Omkar going on to say, after Shreyas got out, Virat should have attacked more. We missed out 10, 15 runs there. I would actually ask Nix a different kind of question. When Virat and Shreyas got together at the crease, do you think Bavuma missed a trick? Because I think Ricky Ponting mentioned this at the commentary as well. The fact that make the batters take the risk, and it was just too easy, because Maharaj was honestly not even bowling. I think he had a yo-yo in his hand. He was just so good out there. Could South Africa have done anything different to be aggressive with the field set?
Yeah, I think even with the point of not bowling their paces at all and looking to bowl just Mara through and through, and as Ricky also mentioned on air that they had the mid-on bat, they had the long on in place, which meant the batters, even if they got stuck, they were able to rotate. So that's where I felt. I think South Africa today had a phase where they kept waiting for the mistake. The mistake never came from India, because of the platform that you had with that first power play. It allowed both of them to really take their time, and that's where I felt that both Shreyas also, he had at one point of time did not look like he'll get a good score, but he hung in there, found a way through, and then when he got himself in, he had a few. Shamsi's spell, I think he'll honestly be honest with himself that wasn't the best of spells. I think more than 50% of his deliveries were down the leg side on a pitch that was assisting so much turn. If you are starting there, it is not going to end up well. So it's either short or is on the middle and leg stump. So I think a lot of this will be even more clear in the second innings if we see the pitch continue to slow down, because it will tell us that maybe they could have just tried to get the pacer back, force the error, as Ricky said, or just have fields that are different so that they are able to create the mistake. Because, like I said just in the preview, you have to take wickets. India knew they could not afford to lose wickets, which is why they batted at that tempo, and so that field just allowed them to just get into a very big stand.
One
Yeah.
sec. Gurkirat, I just want to show you that graphic of Shamsi and talk to me about how he could have been slightly better, because Nix was making the point as well. And this indicates that there's lots of turn and offer. So First of all, the surface as well. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I if I had to assess Shamsi's spell today, I would have just said that he was bowling to two imaginary left-handers while that partnership was on, because the line was completely wrong. Yes, there was a long on in place, but at times there was a mid off. So the I thought the field sometimes was okay because you had a mid off in place to two right handers, wherein you'd ask your left arm wrist spinner bowler to bowl around the off stump and then probably bring the ball back in, wherein you're forcing the two righties to hit against the turn and probably get that classical spinner's dismissal where you've beaten a batter on the drive. But hardly that line was hardly bowled, and on a few occasions that was bowled, it went straight to the fielder. So he was just too leg side. So yeah, and later on he started becoming also shorter. I thought why he was getting turn was because he was bowling at the right pace, even Maharaj, but he was just bowling to two left-handers when there was none batting there.
Okay. More comments coming through, and it's a Sunday evening for a lot of Virat fans to remember. GG, good to see you as well. The fact that Jadeja could come in and play good shots and score boundaries right away makes me wonder if Kohli could have attacked more. Manas Singh going on to say everything was perfect in Kohli's innings except the acceleration. The milestone came at the very wrong time. That is in the last overs. And still feel India's getting entry point for Surya Raj should have come in ahead of KL today. Look, you guys can keep having your thoughts, and of course, tweet us on cricket.com. We are a cricket, and not to forget cricket.com_official on Instagram. I just want to throw it to the South African chase right now because they haven't been chasers, they've been setters. And one man comes to mind straight away because Quinton de Kock, boy, doesn't he love batting against India. Most hundreds against the men in blue, 6 he has against them, and just one away from Sanat Surya. In fact, QDK has just been milking it this year. If you look at his numbers in 2023 and the World Cup in particular, he's been having one to remember. Where is that? That's been reflected, and we'll have another one with Rassi Van Dusen. So all of this is just like a data digest. You can check it out on the cricket.com platforms wherever you guys are. So that is something to consider. And just because we're on that word of stats, we'll get this one out of the way as well, because Shami has been sensational. 44 wickets and counting for him, 45, beg your pardon, and it's good to see. Right, so what is the modus operandi for India then, gents? Do you think the pitch will obviously be India's best friend, or do you think there will be dew and under the lights it might be even better to bat? Gurkirat, you first.
It could get better if there is dew, and at times there has been heavy dew on this ground. Uh, but you'd still feel that India could get the job done in the first 15 itself. And even if there is dew, I don't think it should have an effect on the turn that was on offer. If you bowl at the right pace, you can still extract turn. Like how Nikhil said in the preview that Jadeja could be the X factor. Given how the pitch behaved, I feel that yes, even Jadeja could be a good shout for a 2 for or a 3 for today, because Markram struggles against left arm spin, so does Bavuma, and maybe if he bowls and when he gets that spot right for Jadeja, then he could become very difficult to hit. So yeah, that could be something. But South Africa, I think given how the pitch was, they'll probably have to move a little from their template of taking things slow in the first 10. Last game when they scored 357, they were 93 in 20. I don't think they can afford that today, given how the pitch was. So they'll probably have to be at around 65-70 in the first 10, because you cannot wait for the dew to come. And even if the dew comes, there is no guarantee how much it will quicken up the surface. If the surface is dry underneath, there's only so much that you can do. So it's going to be a test for South Africa as well, because they'll have to move away from their template a little. Probably, who knows, they could come out and bat the way how they did versus Pakistan in the first 10. If that happens, then also then India would be tested. So there are areas where both the teams can be tested, and yeah, that should more or less. But at this point of time, you would still want to be in India's camp at the halfway stage than South Africa's. I do feel they've gotten a cushion of 20-25 runs, even accounting for a bad spell.
I completely agree with you. And lots of people saying different things in the comments. Duck for the cock today saying just cricket. Power play decides the game. If South Africa lose 2 to 3 early, it might be difficult even if Duke comes in. And we will, of course, talk about a various bunch of things. I know we've not spoken about Jadeja's batting, who, of course, I've always believed in, and not to
Yes.
forget, and yeah, of course, let me say it, and Shreyas Iyer as well. Let's start with Shreyas Iyer's innings, guys, because 82 against Sri Lanka, 77 today. Nikhil, what was so pleasing about Shreyas Iyer's knock this time around?
That he waited. He waited, gave himself time. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to start. You saw he got a few leading edges as well of Shamsi. Uh, was very adamant of probably just blocking Maharaj off to begin with. And again, it's one of those examples of ODIs that you have time. You have time to get yourself a score, but get yourself in first. And I think that today was a very testing knock for him. He got enough short balls as well early. Uh, I don't know whether it is enough for right height, right pace, but he was tested and he was held to at an end for a decent amount of time, and then he found his way through, which is what you want to see. I think Samsi helped again with those short balls and down leg stuff, so that he was able to rotate or get the boundaries also. But the one shot that he hit, when he went over long off, that just spoke a lot about the class and the skill that he had in terms of picking the right ball and going in the right area. So the and see, it's the intent that we all been asking from many others. Okay, bhai, he's always been the guy who's shown you enough intent. When the moment you saw him get a start, then he hit that six, and even when the Pacers came back, he was trying to hit every ball. So he knew that this is my role, and I'm more than happy to play a shot every ball, even if it means that I'm giving 2 3 chances every over. So I think he played for the side, and that 77 should not be looked as okay, array, it wasn't 100. It was a great knock. It was a very impactful knock under the right circumstances. So you should remember that as much as you remember anything else from the game.
Okay. Nawaz Shah going on to say, had it not been for Virat's inability to handle an attack spin well, we would have posted 350 plus. I know we're still above par, but his slowness led to the wicket of KL and Shreyas. Neela Kandan going to say, have you observed KL Rahul slowly dipping in form? I just think sometimes it's the law of averages. And today, like the boys said, it's not easy to get going on an attacky pitch like that. Sanjay Singh, where is Akshay down under? I think he is maybe somewhere lurking. Don't know
Whenever
where that
Virat
was.
scores, Akshay isn't available.
Oh, 100%. And Gurkirat Faraz Sheikh going on to say, would you all, those supporting Virat's innings, react and support in the same manner if it was someone like say, Gill, Iyer, or even Rohit asking for a friend?
See, I I think by now people should know that I don't really have loyalties towards any fan base. Like I am an equal opportunity trigger merchant, if you want to call me that. So yeah, I mean today uh, I felt Rohit was getting unnecessary criticism, so I tweeted what I tweeted. When Gill and Iyer had that slowdown in that Indore ODI, I tweeted what I tweeted. I said those hundreds are not worth celebrating. Today, I feel Iyer 77 was his best knock since his comeback. It was see what people have to understand is that today the innings that happened, the partnership that happened between Shreyas and Kohli, it was a very good example of how sometimes ODI cricket requires a game of grafting, which is a lost art on a lot of modern day ODI batters. You see, this is why I said very easily any other team could have been bowled out for 240 today because they would have just looked to attack more short boundaries, but that wasn't the pitch for it. And uh, it was brilliant how Shreyas turned it around because he was some 10 runs of 30 odd balls. And yes, he took his opportunities against Shamsi, but that is what you have to do when the bowling is challenging. You have to target the weaker link in the attack. And he did that. So it may not have been 100, but it was a good innings because at that point of time, he could see that Virat struggling to find the boundary. And early on, when Shreyas was struggling, Virat was still trying to rotate something or score runs here and there. So it was good partnership batting. When I was talking about Virat's 100, I said it's very similar to how Mitchell played that day in Dharamshala. It just got tougher. It was not that Mitchell wasn't attempting. There were only two sixes hit that day in the last 10 overs for New Zealand. One was by Phillips and the other was by Mitchell. And one of them came on a short delivery, the other was on a full toss. And it's very similar to, I know people were going after Babar and Rizwan in that India Pakistan game. Even people in our own offices felt that they could have done better, but both Nikhil and I felt that they were on par for the course just the way they bat. So yeah, I am the last person to change my views depending upon who the player is. Yeah, so I don't know
Okay.
And
about others,
also,
but I've always
and
said.
just to add to it, see, every 100, every pitch, it is not the same. Cricket is not a very simple sport that you can say black and white, compare hundreds, compare players. Every game has different context. Every game will have a different power score that you have to get to. The Darren Mitchell game, they got to a score India were able to chase down easily. If South Africa are able to chase this down easily, credit to them. But when it happened, you have to take into consideration what happens when the deck is how. So I think it's also very important to have that context in play. Okay, it wasn't that the survey was great and you felt at that point of time, okay, you needed 400 on this day. No, you felt 300, 320 is good. You've got that score. So eventually, you'll have to have that context also.
it's
Yeah.
it's very similar to the first game that happened. Everyone was saying England bowled poorly, England did not score enough runs, but the difference between how the pitch behaved in those
Yeah,
two innings was, it was like daylight. It the pitch had grip, the pitch had turn in the first innings. In the second innings it became a
Paji,
pitch of concrete.
it was actually daylight. The one happened in day, the other happened in light.
Yeah, it was
But
it was it was like cricket was being played on concrete. Ball was coming
yeah,
in straight lines, not moving at
yeah.
all, and at good pace. It's There was another innings. I can't remember the match. It happened in this World Cup only, where we said that at the halfway stage we felt the score was good enough. It was a non-India game, but the chase happened very well. I can't recall that game, and we said, yeah, cannot do much because it was the Afghanistan Pakistan game. Now when Pakistan got to 280, everyone felt that it was enough because Afghanistan were not chasing much. Batting's not been easy at Chepauk anyway in the second innings, but the pitch became better to bat on, and then you felt there was not much Pakistan could have done in terms of forcing the issue because of what resources they had and what the pitch was. So it's okay. Things can change that way. The entire 2021 World T20 was like that. You could do as much as you want while batting first, but you couldn't really control how the pitch will behave in the second innings.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about Shubman Gill also, boys, because a lot of people questioning his defense today, or the left arm spin and all of that kind of getting to
Yeah.
him. But I'll, of course, ask you guys about Jadeja's batting first, and then we'll, of course, lead into the neutral axis question here, which goes on to say this pitch suits players who play well. It's square due to its turn, like Surya and Jaddu, so I feel QTK is more. We'll, of course, talk about QTK and neutral axe, but what about Jadeja's knock, guys? I know he was pretty much playing the Pacers, and people be like, yeah, he didn't play spin, that's why he was just killing it. But Nick, what do you make of that knock? That cameo?
Yeah, well, I was torn between him and Gill for the X factor for the very same reason that I felt he could really contribute against Pacers. I'm very happy with that knock. India needed it. Jadeja needed for him to have a knock like that where he's batting on at a good strike rate, finding the fence. So great to have that cushion with Jadeja having that confidence because with the ball he will be required. South Africa have Quinton and Miller. He will not bowl till Quinton is there. So hopefully Quinton gets out in the power play itself. But good enough confidence because with no Hardik, you need Jadeja to keep getting runs and play these cameos. So delighted for him. Oh, nice. Thank you. Thank you.
And what about the whole question that Neural Hacks with Vasan said? Do you think QDK is more crucial than anyone in this kind of on this kind of surface because he's of course played so much of cricket in India? Do you think he'll actually be able to adapt today?
Well, you hope he is not able to, but you can't put it past him. I mean, he's scoring. He scored 4 centuries already. You don't score that those many if you are not thinking at your best. So I think the chase, and again, as Paji said, it's very interesting to see that the pace at which they go. They've been very happy to take their time and build their innings like that. But today, see, it's an unknown for all of us in terms of even the teams that how much dew will come when it will come. So very keen to see if they wait for the bad ball or are they able to make the Indian new ball attack, which has done so well so far, to change their game plan? So that
Yeah.
could really go a long way in deciding how it goes because there isn't an off spinner. You have two left arm spinners in operation. So getting Quinton out will be very, very early.
Okay, let's make the Gill talk about Gill then, because Chachand's going on to say Gill's is a minnow basher. Oh my god, people honestly like won't stop like being blasphemic. What did you rate Shubman Gill's knock as? Because I think he was looking good, especially when he played that shot over long gone for six of Marco Jansen, and then he gave him a little stare. It was like young Virat, you know, be like, "Kya bole kar raha hai," and all that. It's too good. I mean, what did you make of the dismissal, and what did you make of the knock, Gurkirat?
A very good ball to get out. The ball had dip, ball had turn,
Yeah,
but he should still be disappointed to, not convert that start. Uh,
yeah,
and maybe, probably again, I think it was in Maharaj's first over only the dismissal that came.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think so.
so yeah, probably that can happen. Because before
It's
that,
happened too much. It's happened too much. It's happened with Velalagi also. It's happened with Jack Leach also, if I remember. Very early in the spell of the left arm spinner, Gillis got into trouble.
how did he get out to Velalage?
Same,
I
I think
can't
he was
recall.
out. He was out.
Yeah, but
More than,
the
Stumped. He
Velalage
was
ball,
out stumped,
I think
right?
he got out stumped
Stumped.
because
Stumped.
yeah, he was beaten for both turn and dip.
yeah,
So yeah, probably yeah. The one thing that he could now look to see is that maybe on pitches that are slightly uh,
slow.
tougher or offering some grip, might just look to play left arm spin with the straight bat and see. Probably it could be a case of getting carried away after seeing how Rohit has done or how he's gotten runs, because till that point of time he did not look in any trouble. So
Mm.
maybe that is something he can look after, that just probably see out the first over of a left arm spinner and then see how he wants to play today. Felt that on that delivery he had overcommitted in terms of he saw the ball leave the hand and just wanted to play that drive, but the ball never arrived and then it turned.
Mm.
So it can happen, but I mean, basher thing is something that I don't know.
Don't even go there, bro. They're
Uh,
just
No,
simply
but
see,
gaslighting.
there's one thing that I've always said. You need minnow bashers, because if you don't have minnow bashers, you will lose to teams like Netherlands, etc.
you
So
need
even
everybody in the team. Everybody. You need every
Exactly.
kind of players in us. It's okay.
Look, boys, I mean, De Kock and Babuma out there, but before that, couple more questions because Pranay Adav, quickly, Gurkirat, because like 3-4, I want to quickly take. And all you lovely people watching, like this particular video because 60 of you all, and hopefully it should be an India win. What do you say, Paji Klaasen versus Jaddu and Yadav? Is that the matchup when it gets really down to the business end of this chase?
a lot is going to depend upon when he's coming into bat. Because if Klaasen has to come into bat in the first 15, uh, then he will not be in a position to take those risks and put both Klaasen or Jaddu off their lines or lengths. If he's coming in around the 30th over when or 35th over when say the required rate is at around 8, then maybe yeah he can take those risks. But if he's coming in early, then it's difficult. And yeah, so far, I think this is going to be probably the toughest deck that South Africa is going to bat on. If it stays the way it was in the first innings, should be a good challenge. I expect Jadeja to do well.
Okay, straight away some movement for Bumrah over there. We'll end
Yeah.
proceedings right now. But Farah Sheikh going on to say India should have actually challenged itself by asking South Africa to bat and choosing to chase just to see how they'll go, considering there's a chance of both teams again meeting in the final. But it's easier said than done. And Sanjay Papi
I
Giri
don't
going
think
to
there is. I don't think there's a correct answer to this, because had they chased, everyone would have said, "Oh, you've already been successful chasing.
exactly.
Might as well bat first."
Yeah, and I do want the number 50 to come in Bangalore. It just would probably be a great script. That, and of course, heading into the knockouts, he can just bat freely and he doesn't have to have any pressure of this. Indeed, guys, prediction then before I let you go. What's happening? India winning by how many runs, or South Africa winning by how many wickets?
I'm
I
hoping
think
for a comfortable India win. Paji, your
Okay,
turn.
India win.
yeah, I was going for a 70-75 run win. Could even be more, but 70-75 run win means that at some point of time South Africa will be in the chase. I don't want that steamrolling kind of a win. I just want
Yeah.
there to be some test for the bowler. So 70-75 run win.
Okay, India won by 100 runs against England in Lucknow. Let's see if that is deja vu or not. Join us, of course, in the post-match scheme of things. We'll, of course, talk about everything. And let's see if South Africa can make a fist of this run chase. They've kind of huffed and puffed in chases this year in this competition. Of course, Netherlands and then Pakistan, but right now against India, only time will tell. Thanks so much for joining us in this mid-innings review. And of course, Virat Kohli, take a bow, because whatever you've done today is absolutely special. And people, you can agree with us in the comments or disagree. No problem whatsoever. We'll see you later.
49 is anyway a special number.
Exactly, man. Exactly. We'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Goodbye from us.
Check there.
Bye.